Hi, my name is Mike McCormick from People Right, and I'm excited that you joined us today so that I can teach you how to double or triple your odds of hiring top performing employees. A lot of people don't think this is possible, which is why I like the quote on this slide. But at the end of the day, we all want to have teams made up of champion performers. And what would it do for your business if we could help you to achieve that goal? And what would it do for you personally if we could help you achieve that goal? Do you have people on your bench that you need to get up and go out and perform? Have you ever hired someone who didn't quite live up to your expectations? So tell me, does any of this sound familiar? You keep hiring the wrong people for your business, and these bad decisions end up costing your company a fortune. It's not just the cost and time invested in the hiring process, but how much time is spent on trying to get them up to speed and how much time they're taking away from your other team members. Then it's the time to figure out if they're going to make it and applying additional resources to try and help them succeed, or to be a somewhat productive member of your team. And ultimately, their lack of production has you wondering why you hired them in the first place, or what can you do to get rid of them now? And hopefully, along the way, they haven't caused any of your existing customers or clients to leave, or worse yet, caused any of your other top performers to leave, because they got tired of carrying around all the dead weight that has been added to your team. I know all of this because I personally experienced how it feels to be in a poor job fit, and I'll bet you have too. You see, I spent the first 20 years of my career working in corporate America, and I worked for 5 different companies and had 10 different job titles. And there's about 8 of those that I hope I never get to go back and do again. And it wasn't because I couldn't do them, which is often the case when employees fail. In my case, I could do them all, and I was never let go because of poor performance. Yet there were 2 jobs in that span where I was the perfect fit. I knew it, and everyone around me knew it, and I was recognized and rewarded accordingly. So, because of my personal experience and pain in the cause of poor job fit, I became extremely interested in what causes great job fit. You see, I have a very technical and analytic background, so I wanted to determine what can you measure, how can you measure it, and then how can you use that information to improve the odds of hiring more rock stars in any given role. I started People Right in 2002 to help companies collect and use better information when hiring and coaching their employees, and have worked with hundreds of leaders just like yourselves to improve their odds of hiring top performers. And we work with new clients all the time to help them do the same thing. And at the end of this briefing, I'm going to tell you how we can meet together one-on-one to explore how this might work for you. The first step of this process is to identify what's working now in terms of how many high performers do you have in key roles in your company. Then we will work to define a pilot study to see if we could help you differentiate between the high and low performers in the future, and to be able to do it before you make the hiring decisions. We worked with a sales organization a couple of years ago. They had over 80 salespeople in their organization. In the pilot study, we asked them to identify their top 5 and bottom 5 performers so that we could gather information about each group. After all 10 had completed the assessments, we used the results of the top 5 to create a profile or benchmark to see what they had in common. Then we compared both groups to this profile. It turns out that we could have predicted which group a candidate would end up in, either top or bottom performer, in 9 out of 10 cases, just based on their job fit score compared to the benchmark. So it all starts with a pilot study where we will prove that our stuff works. If our tools and processes could work in your company, how soon would you want to get started on your pilot study? We can normally set the parameters for a pilot study in a 30-minute phone call where we will discuss how many top performers you currently have in this key role and how many of them we may want to include in the pilot study. The second step in our process, after we prove that it works, is to identify the successful DNA traits and train your team who will be making the hiring decisions how to look for them in the future. We will also have the hiring managers on your team complete the assessment. We don't do this so we can compare them to the benchmark, but so you can see how well, so they can see how well and accurately the tools work in terms of measuring 20 separate characteristics or traits. We've also found that your employees will be more enthusiastic about completing their assessments if they know their leadership team or management team has also been through the same exercise. After we take the hiring managers through a review of their own results, we will then walk them through the top performer benchmark results in detail and highlight the areas that are likely to drive the highest differentiation in job performance of future candidates. We'll even take on some opportunities where the deck is stacked against us. Here's how it worked with a recent client who was evaluating working with us versus working with another service provider. In this example, we were competing against a local service provider, i.e. local for the prospective client, and we were 1,500 miles away. Due to travel cost, which the prospective client did not want to pay, our competition presented their results in person, and we got to present our results via a phone conference call. They got to go first, and they got 2 hours in person to present their solution. We presented last. We were allowed only 1 hour to present our results, and it was pretty obvious by the way it was all set up that they wanted to go with the local provider, who, by the way, also was offering a less expensive solution. So the deck was definitely stacked against us winning this competition. But it turns out that our tools and processes were so far superior to theirs that we were notified while we were still on the call that we had won their business. And once we've demonstrated how well our solution works, we teach you how to use our tools and processes in your future selection or hiring decisions. We'll also show you how to use them to better coach and manage your new employees and any existing employees. Because ours is not only a selection tool, but a tool that can be helpful in all stages of the employee life cycle. Again, it all starts with a pilot study. Are you ready to call us so we can help you define a pilot for your unique situation for hiring key employees? I'll tell you how to get started on your pilot at the end of the call. The third step in our process is to teach you how to fish. This slide shows the first fish my son ever caught and the kind of fish that he's catching today. We will teach you how to put new tools and processes in place, and we'll define dates that will come back in to check your progress and possibly update some of the benchmarks because nothing ever stays the same. Companies are always changing and evolving. They add new territories, new products, new services, new training methods, new management techniques, and also may undergo a change in management. All of these things could have an impact on the success DNA that you need in employees in your key roles. So we always stay in touch to make sure things are working as well as they can be. We recommend that we review any benchmarks you're using at least every year. And most of our clients follow our suggestions because they know how much things are changing in their environment and they want to make sure they're taking all of that change into account. I'm not sure why you decided to join me on this executive briefing today. It may be your job is on the line if the next employees you hire don't turn out better than the last ones you hired. It may be that you have a few rock stars on your team and you need to add more rock stars, and you're curious about whether we really can help you to identify that rock star DNA. It may be that you need to give your hiring managers better tools to do their jobs, because you have a lot of new or inexperienced managers on your team. And just being good isn't good enough anymore. They need to be better than good. Or it might be because you've never stopped to analyze the performance of your team, and you wonder if collecting and using better information on the front end can help your team perform better on the back end. I'm here to offer help. What I do is define the DNA of your top performers so you can find and keep more of them. We can help our clients achieve higher overall performance on your team by identifying the right DNA that you need for your critical hires and how this DNA is likely different for different roles in your organization. We help you to identify where your existing employees may be lacking and then show you how to target areas where they can improve performance. We help senior leaders to better understand the talents they already have on their team. And as you can see on this slide, sometimes the people you need are already right under your nose. And ultimately, we help you spend more time on your core business instead of spending it on employees that are not cut out for this kind of work in the first place. So, whether you're tired of spending most of your time dealing with underperforming employees instead of on your core business, or whether you're already knocking it out of the park, but want to set new performance records in your group that have never been achieved before, just stop and think about how getting the right people in the right seats in the first place can help you achieve your goals. The graph on the left shows results from a recent client where their top performing salespeople were achieving 106% of sales versus quota. Their poor performers were only achieving 77%. As a result of the pilot study, we showed them we could help them identify in advance 75% of both groups before they hired them. Remember, I got into this business because I had personally experienced great job fit twice and experienced mediocre job fit 8 times. And I bet you have experienced similar things in your career. Because when I ask seasoned leaders what percent of their career they spent working in their sweet spot, it's usually between 10 and 20%. What if you could have a career do-over where you only worked in roles where you were a great fit? How much more could you have achieved? What if you could provide that opportunity to the people who work for you? I'm not here to try to sell you anything today. I'm here to hopefully start a conversation to see if what we do can help you succeed more and to provide a roadmap for us to possibly work together. I'd like to invite you to schedule a 30-minute appointment to chat with me to see if we can help you reach your goals. On this call, we will begin to build the foundation for future performance improvement for your team. We will discuss your current situation and your biggest opportunity for improvement if you were to try something new. We will identify what kind of information you currently have or you could come up with to determine if we could prove that the new tools and/or processes could help you achieve these goals. And we will identify what kind of information we will need to collect in order to take your opportunity to improve performance to the next level. This slide includes a link to schedule a time to talk with me. You'll see that my calendar is a bit limited because I need to keep most of my time reserved for my current clients. So I hope you can find a time that works for you. I hope to talk to you soon. Remember, my schedule is limited. I try to take on no more than 3 new clients per month. So be sure to book your time now. If you have an urgent need, you can reach me on my cell at 214-725-7935. If I can't talk live, I promise a response within 24 hours. Thank you, and best wishes on improving your team's performance in the coming year.